Hey everybody, so you probably saw the title of the video and the thumbnail and everything, so you know what this is about. I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit on how to use Blender today, which is one of my favorite programs outside of Roblox for 3D modeling. I'm not especially good at it, like, because I have been out of practice, so hopefully this doesn't go too badly, but I've seen some people do some really cool things with it who didn't even know about it until I told them about it. So I figured, this would be a great tutorial to add, because a lot of people in the horse game community don't even know that this exists. And it's a really helpful tool, especially if you want to create your own rigs, which I have done before, but it looked really bad. But before we get into everything, I just wanted to talk a little bit about like what happened in my last video because the comments section like was mostly very supportive, but some people were like just literally crazy. And I don't want to usually like commit that much time because they really didn't have an argument for rodeo anyway. It's about my rodeo video where I was basically saying, "Oh, guys, like don't support rodeo because it's literally abusive." And I explained all the reasons why with some anatomical reasoning as to why the equipment used in rodeo is wrong and a couple of reasons why, but a lot of people like did not like this one guy just did not like it, and I'm not going to name drop or anything, but he kind of went feral and he basically told me not to come after rodeo again. So I am because I am not gonna just like shut up about it just because this random guy told me to. Because I firmly believe that it's animal cruelty, so I'm not gonna shut up about something like that. And I will be explaining a little bit in further detail why, because I do feel like the first video that I made was a little bit lacking in medical data, if that's something that you guys are interested in. So I do have some videos to analyze and a horse pain ethogram that was actually developed by an equine orthopedics specialist. So this person has been in like the industry for like since the dawn of time and has met so many horses. And basically, the graph was designed to identify horses that are in pain due to lameness, but it can also work for horses in pain in general, just because of inappropriate tack or management strategies. Um, so we're going to take a look at that in a minute, but I just want to watch this video first so that you guys can help me identify some of the things that I'm going to show you. One of the more glaring issues I tend to see with these rodeo videos is that the horse's mouth is opening and that the tongue is out. You could see throughout the entire video that the horse's mouth and tongue was extremely active. And it's not just this horse. This horse is not like a horse that has like a lameness problem or something, and that's why this horse is displaying these behaviors. There's many, many other horses that I see when I search up rodeo bronc on Google, like just plain images, literally like allowed into the public light by the rodeo community. Like the rodeo community themselves is putting out these videos and this footage um, of horses with their mouth open and their tongue hanging out, and they look awful. And it's just one of the most distressing things to see in a sport that claims that they treat their horses like prime athletes. That's not what prime athletes look like. And horses cannot breathe really well with their mouths open. So these horses are holding their breath. That's how much pain they're in. Because horses' mouths don't work that way. They have to have a tight lip seal in order to breathe through their nose. They can't breathe through their mouths, but they need to have their mouths closed to breathe properly. The next behavior in the ethogram that matches this horse is the behind the vertical for 10 seconds or more. This horse is pretty dramatically behind the vertical for the vast majority of the video. I will concede to the fact that rodeo broncs are usually only out for 8 seconds maximum um, while they're on their rides, which is actually something that rodeo riders tend to use frequently as an excuse for the abuse. Like, oh, they're only out for 8 seconds. I don't care how long you're abusing an animal. If you're abusing an animal at all, you should just not do it. Like, oh, well, I only beat my dog for 8 minutes. I don't care how long you're beating your dog for. Don't beat your dog. It's not that difficult. That's one of these things that's so confusing about it is that if you're justifying it by the amount of time that it takes, are you trying to say that it would be worse if you were spending more time on it? because in which case you should just spend no time doing it at all. One of the most interesting things about this horse pain ethogram, I would think, is that and of rodeo in general, is that bucking and rearing are both signs of pain. The horses with poor fitting saddles will do this often. It can be an excitement behavior, but most often it does occur when a horse is um, feeling threatened. If they're feeling like they're in pain at all, they will do these things to try to avoid being ridden because it's painful for them. And so, and when you start to think about that, like how hard these horses try to rid themselves of their rider, how hard they try to have it be over. I mean, these horses, they genuinely do not want this to happen to them, and it's really sickening like how rodeo people will literally just play it off like the horse is enjoying themselves. They are not having fun. I mean, bucking and rearing in themselves are pain behaviors, and the way you initiate these in a horse is through inflicting pain, and that's how rodeo works. So it's just, this is why I feel like rodeo people really can't defend themselves anymore, because deep down they know what they're doing is wrong, and it's very easy to refute any of the claims that they give you, because bucking and rearing in themselves are pain behaviors. They are not, you know, they don't happen from a horse just having fun and being happy. If you want to ride a horse properly, they don't exhibit these behaviors at all. In fact, these behaviors are discouraged because they're a sign that the horse is having problems under saddle. But yeah, I will definitely be dropping the link to that horse pain ethogram and the whole study and everything in the description box, because that is really an amazing study and it is super useful for identifying when a horse that might be in your care might actually have an issue with lameness rather than just being a naughty horse. Because a lot of people think that a horse is just being naughty or just, playing up, and send them to the trainer when really they should be sending them to a vet. So if you have a horse that's displaying some really confusing behavior that you haven't really been able to explain by yourself, it's not quite a diagnosis, but it is a really right first step in the direction of finding somebody who can diagnose your horse with those problems. If you know a horse that is exhibiting 8 or more of these behaviors is the suggested amount for lameness. Um, with some of the behaviors being a little bit more indicative of pain than the others. But it's a really great tool to use for horses where they really have some really inexplicable behavior. So definitely check that out if you are really into horse behavior. It's a very interesting study. But with that aside, I'm going to get into the actual meat of this video, which is the blender part, of course. What's kind of interesting about Blender is that it works off of a file type that is different from the files in Roblox that are used for the 3D models. So you do have to do a little bit of workarounds to try to get the horse into Blender, because if you're using a horse model, like as an example, um, say you have a horse model and you want to make a halter for it. In that case, you will want to import the horse into Blender and have that base basically to work off of. Just like when you're, trying to fit tack on here that's just like regular like mesh tack, you will want that horse there so that you can actually measure all those things. So you're not just making a halter or something out of thin air. So the first thing you want to do obviously is just get yourself a horse, and I like to delete all of like the unnecessary stuff. Like you can delete like the saddle and everything and the bridle, because you won't be needing all that. Or if you want, you can even import the bridle and mess with it, but I don't do that. I like to delete the mane just so that it's not in the way. Oh, am I deleting it on the wrong horse? Yep, I think I am. Okay. Yeah, I was deleting it on the wrong horse. I'm on my last brain cell, guys. I'm taking 2 advanced placement classes this year, and it's just not working for me. Poor Peter, man. I'm messing him up so bad. All right. So you want to delete their hair, obviously, because that can make it a little bit difficult to fit that tag, unless you want the hair there. But it's very annoying to import um all that stuff. And then I like to leave the eyes so you can see. You can delete the tail. I'm gonna do that. Um, Not a lot of stuff to delete. You just want to delete anything that's not really necessary. Like any of this stuff, you don't need in Blender. Blender is not even going to register this, okay? All you want is the basic shape of the horse. You can delete the humanoid root part, delete this, other mane if you still have that in there. And then you kind of just have this weird, like, horse butt. I don't know, this raw horse. That sounded so wrong. I'm literally, like, not even functional right now. I promise I was for the part of the video where I was ranting. Okay, guys, I'm not a completely ridiculous thing. So yeah, select children, just delete all of those pesky textures because those will try to import too, and it's very irritating. And then what you want to do actually, this is actually the weirdest part of it all. You have to get the horse at 0, 0, 0, 0 for like position, or like I guess just 3 zeros. Because Blender also works in coordinates, but it is very difficult to navigate around. Like, it doesn't navigate around like Roblox does, where you can just arrow around and you can just scroll around the map so easily. You cannot do that in Blender. So what you want to do is you want to get the horse as close to the center as possible, because Blender isn't like a world-based making thing. Like, you're not going to make a whole world in Blender, okay? That's not really how it works. So it's more meant for creating individual pieces, and it's very detailed. So you want to have it as close to the middle as possible so that your horse isn't in Timbuktu and you have to try to navigate over to it. Um, and then the other thing you can do to make sure that it's at 0, 0 is you can go to view and you can turn on this nice show grid right here. Definitely don't forget where this is because I find the grid very irritating on a normal basis. Um, but you want to take that horse and you want to just kind of make sure that it's like kind of sitting on this plane right here, resting on this plane. Um, I'm like inside the floor right now, basically, because that's where like it will be for most terrain maps is literally in the ground. So that's why I just like type it in because it's impossible to get it in the right spot like normally. And you just want to kind of be right on this axis. And this same axis here that you're seeing, this these lines, these arrows, are all going to show up in Blender as well in those same areas. So that's how you'll know that you've done it right. So now that you've got your horse in here, what is in these? Oh, it's like a mesh. I am going to select it and I am going to export selection. And this is going to save it as an object model file. Yeah, that's the only way you can save it, I believe. And I am going to save it to my downloads. And we're going to call it horse model, I guess. No spaces, because I am against spaces. And you just want to save it in there. And then once you have that, then the horse should be okay to import into Blender, and then you should actually be able to see what you're doing. I'm just gonna delete this horse because it's kind of ugly. It's like a skinwalker horse down there. It's kind of creepy. And then what you want to do is then now after all that's done, once all that's done, you can save all your files, close this out, um, and you can go back to and you can go into Blender for a while. My computer does not like to run both of them at once, but if you have a strong enough computer, you should leave this open while you open Blender because the first couple times that you import things, like things will get messed up. Like you'll miss something and you'll have to go back and check. Like I have not done this in a while, so when I go to import this, chances are something's going to go wrong and I'm going to have to go back into this window and open it all back up again. So save yourself the pain. Don't close this out if your computer is actually strong enough. But yeah, 3D modeling can be pretty taxing on computers, so you might not be able to without it like completely lagging out and crashing. But if you can, do it. Do it to yourself. Right off the bat, Blender can be a little intimidating to open. I got my copy off of Steam just because I'm a little bit like apprehensive around software that's downloaded from a browser because it does tend like there can be fake versions with viruses, so you always want to check to make sure it's like the real version of whatever you're trying to get. And Blender is one of those popular pieces of software that people will try to copy off of all the time to try to scam you. So I just get it through Steam. If you already have a Steam account, just do it that way because it's safer. Um, so you just kind of want to keep all these things like kind of the same. Like you don't need to worry about any of this stuff. You can change the theme if you want to. There's like a what? Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. No, we're staying in dark. And I'm just gonna do that. I don't even know. Like I haven't been in Blender in like a million years. Okay, I'll be real with you guys. So the first couple things that are weird about Blender is that if you like click around, you'll notice that the right click doesn't actually like drag you around. Okay, What you're gonna want to do for that is, I think it's the middle mouse wheel is how you actually do that. So if you don't have a scroll wheel, I think, can you do it with shift click or control click? I don't know. I've never done this. I'm seriously clueless when it comes to this, dude. Like, I can't even lie. All right. I don't know how you do it if you don't have a middle scroll wheel. There's probably a tutorial out there. There's probably way better tutorials than mine. Don't do it like I'm doing it, okay? Like, the only thing I really know really good about this program is the first part. Um, so first thing, they'll give you like this box right here, and I've already brought myself into edit mode. I'm trying to be in object mode right now. Um, you want to delete this, okay? That's not going to be useful right now. What you want to do is you want to go into um, file import, because that's how you're going to get that horse that we were talking about earlier in here. And you want to go with a wavefront file. Um, you're going to want to go to the downloads or wherever you saved it. And then right here is our horse model. So we're going to import that. And look at that. We got our horse in here right in the middle, just like we put it in the in Roblox. And you can like move it around. It's like one solid block, I think, in here. Oh no, they do have the individual parts. Don't they? Do they? That is so weird. I don't know how I like that. Um, but yeah, Roblox saves things in really weird ways. I don't really understand it. Um, but anyways, if you want to like actually get to like the halter making part of this video, you want to hit add. Um, and you're gonna want to add a mesh. Basically, meshes are just like the objects in Blender. And we're gonna add our friend the cube. And it doesn't have to be a cube, okay? We can make it a rectangular prism if we want to. We can really just tell it to do whatever we want. So we're gonna take this here, pesky cuboid here. I'm gonna try to hand over here. I swear there was like a different command for that. It's bothering me now. Is it like shift? Oh, okay. It's if you hold down shift and then you do the middle mouse button, then you can do the cool thingy that you can do with the arrow keys on Roblox. All right, there you go. I've done one thing right today, guys. I'm proud of myself. All right, let's get this blog nice and skinny because we want it to be like kind of I'm thinking this will be the cheek piece of our halter, I guess. So we're gonna use this little scale tool right here, this little friend, and just kind of get it nice and skinny. And so then once you have it there, you're probably like, dude, this is literally just the same as Roblox, okay? This is literally just putting a box on the side of the horse's face. I don't understand what's so special about Blender. Well, where you start to get special in Blender is when we start to get into edit mode, okay? This is when things start to get interesting. So when you crack open edit mode, you get all these crazy tools and stuff. I don't even know what like most of these even do, okay? I'm gonna be real. Like I don't never use like any of this stuff. I literally just right click when I'm in edit mode and you can do this thing called subdivide. And what this is going to do is it's going to divide these little friends, these little dots here that are called vertices. So these are all like basically the points that are corners of our creation. And this is going to give it more corners so that we can do more weird stuff with it. So then once you've done that, you can start to do weirder things with the move tool and whatnot. So you can select individual vertices in edit mode, um, as opposed to selecting the entire object. So what you want to do is you want to click this little friend right here, and that's wireframe mode. This is going to make it so that we can select right through things. And it will only select vertices from the object that you are currently selecting to. So we're on cube right now, so it won't select anything from the horse. We don't have to worry about that. Um, but as you can see, the horse is also made up of many vertices and things. So if you imported like just the head of the horse or something, you could actually do this to the horse and make a lot of different breeds of horses. Like the possibilities of this are endless once you like start to realize what this thing can actually do. So what you want to do is you want to select our friends here, these middle vertices, and you're going to want to pull them like this. And you are going to start to notice that they do some very strange prism-like activity. This is how we make that nice little bend on the outside of our halter. Is we push those vertices out. And if you want to like select this and have it affect the vertices around it, you can actually click this little friend or circle and turn on proportional editing. And then you see like this nice little circle right here moves around everything. And we can actually affect the other vertices. Or we can scroll it smaller. Like this circle right here I'm controlling with the scroll wheel. You can scroll it smaller to just select, the nearby vertices and only affect those. Or you can scroll it outward and then affect all of them. So you can do it just by clicking on one vertice if you want to. And there's a lot of different styles to editing on here. You can actually do some fun stuff with sculpting on here. I've heard a lot of people who say that they just really like this tab and they won't use any of the other ones because this one you can do some really fun stuff with. Okay, you can like just like mold the horse like clay. I don't personally use this tab very much because it makes more sense to me mathematically this way. So the next object I'm going to add here is a mesh, and I'm going to add what's called a torus, which is basically a donut. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't want to see me, it's somebody. Alright, so once we have our friend here, the halter, the next thing we're gonna want to do is delete this pesky horse because we don't need it no more. So delete that because you don't want to export with everything else. Alright, we already have horses on Roblox. We don't need them in Roblox. So we're gonna delete this. Because what we're getting set up to do is to take this thing and put it in Roblox. Oh wow, that's like so bad. Like I said, I'm not good at this. Um, so the next thing we're gonna want to do, I'm just gonna select everything that I actually want to be exported with the halter part of things because you want the rings obviously to be a separate color from everything else. So in Roblox, it's gonna have to be a separate mesh. So select everything other than the rings by holding shift and then clicking on all of them, and they'll have everything selected. Then file, export, and just like before, we're gonna do wavefront. And I'm just gonna put them in this right here, and I'm gonna call it nylon. Because this is a nylon part of the halter. Export it. Or leather, depending on what kind of halter. And export it. Then I'm going to select all the other parts of the halter. I don't know if it does just the parts that are selected. I hope it does. I don't even remember, dude. Like, I'm gonna be fully real. And then do the same thing just with all the rings or metal parts or whatever you have on there that you want to be a different color. Alright, now that we're back in silly old Roblox Studio, the next thing you're going to want to do is import a 3D file. And you're going to want to go to wherever you put it. I don't even remember where it is. Oh, it's in here. And we're going to import our things. Interesting. So it did import everything, but basically this will at least give you guys the idea. I did want to import these separately, but obviously you could just delete like the parts in Blender and like in two different save files, and then just do it that way. So upload that, and then you want to put it on a horse, obviously. So we're gonna take out my boy Peter on him. So just like you would fit any other piece of mesh tack, pretty much. Oh, and the other thing is too, sometimes the little axis might be off, so you might have to use the reset on edit pivot. You might have to edit the pivot and put it in the middle of it because it might be weird. It's so messed up from using Blender now, man. All right, there we go. So once it's in like the middle, then it's like a lot easier to do. But yeah, sometimes the pivot's off. Sometimes just weird things about it are off just because of where it was made in Blender. Because Blender like has weird things with like, you know, Blender and Roblox don't always get along. Yeah, then you just put it on the horse, and it's pretty standard. Um, yeah, it looks pretty good. I would say that isn't horrible. I would almost say it's better than the last one that I did. But yeah, that's how you make complex objects basically on Roblox. You can't really make in Roblox. You just use other programs to help it along. Um, because sometimes Roblox is bad and you do have to help it. So I'll be fitting this for the next century. But anyways, thanks you guys all for watching. And if you really like the video, you can like it and save it. Just to give me that boost. And feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Um, and it was really great having you. So I hope you enjoy using Blender to make fun horse stuff on Roblox.